Hey guys, welcome back to Modeling Manhood. Back in 2003, I actually had a incident where I was knocked out. I'm going to share with you guys that story. We were trying to milk that night in the barn, and we had a fresh heifer that was refusing to go into the holding area. And we had a step down parlor, so the cows went up a ramp to get in the parlor, and then you were in a pit below that would have been even with the holding area where the cows were. And the cows had to walk up this area. And we got to the end of milking, and this one fresh heifer still would not go in. And I would get up behind her and like push on her, and my dad would pull on her, and it just wasn't going really well. And she ended up being one of the last cows to go in. But I can remember what happened, but not the outcome. I just know that my dad found me quite a ways or quite a time later. What the cow had done was took her head and she picked me up in the air and basically threw me over her back, and I landed on my neck. I herniated several discs. I messed up my cervical 3 all the way to my thoracic 2. So you guys that are in the medical field will know that's quite a few vertebrae be herniated, and I had one ruptured disc in my neck too. And that is something that still bothers me to this day. If I'm on the tractor looking back this way plowing, a lot of times my neck will lock up, and there's just a lot of reminders throughout my life of that incident that happened now 21 years ago, which is kind of crazy. So maybe you guys have an old injury that flares up when the weather's cold, or something that just reminds you of something that happened to you years ago, whether you were a kid or an adult. But old injuries aren't very fun when they come back. Usually they come back with vengeance and just try to get the best of you. In the Old Testament, the Israelite people had lots and lots of reminders, kind of like that aching pain that just keeps coming back every time the weather gets cold. So kind of think of if maybe you got a problem with your knee or elbow or something like that. But just imagine the people, the Israelites, they were in Egypt and they were moaning and groaning, and they just kind of wanted to get out. And God sent them Moses, and they escape Israel, and they cross over the Red Sea, and they complain again. They're like, we wish we had life how it was back in Egypt. And then they ask to be like the other nations around them, where they get a king. And prior to that, they had all these judges warning them, don't act like the rest of the world. Don't act like the nations around us. And then they're taken captive by the Babylonians, and God sends them prophet after prophet. And I'm just going to read through some of the titles for different books in the Old Testament for you. We have the prophet Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. And all those men would have been a reminder that either the nation of Israel or Judah, that they were missing something with their relationship with Christ or their relationship with God, because Christ hadn't come yet in the Old Testament. But their relationship with God was struggling because they didn't have him as a constant in their life or in their choices as a nation, and they were taken captive. The book of Lamentations talks about the people just weeping because they missed how it used to be. And sometimes we wish that we were like spring chickens or young kids and we could just bounce back from old injuries. And I think the people of Israel longed for those days when things were easier, when they weren't in captivity or weren't enslaved. And I just want you guys to be thinking about that. Anytime you have an injury or something that flares up on you, just think about all the reminders that we have in our life of how good we used to have it and how good we can have it someday when we get a new body, when we get to heaven. And that's really exciting. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these, bringing it to you real every day. But make sure that you guys know Jesus, our Savior, and know God, what He's done for you. Thank you so much. Remember, mirror your Maker and journey with Jesus today.